Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Audition. This one was hyped during the last decade as having a very gruesome and uncomfortable torture scene. During 5 minutes, last part of the film. So my ex-wife had this DVD on her Netflix queue back in 2005 just because of all the hype this movie got at the time for that one scene. And so I was sharing my DVD queue on Netflix with my ex-wife at the time. Hadn't gotten around to watching it yet. Then all of a sudden my ex-wife discovered that I was sharing her DVD queue also with one of my coworkers, and that's when I got into trouble and we ended up in divorce. And it's a long story, but I'll stop talking about myself now. I'll start talking about the movie. So I remembered this movie in the back of my head that at one point I had it on my ex-wife's DVD queue, and back in 2005. So I put it back on. A couple years later, I got my own DVD queue on Netflix, and divorce finally went through in 2008. So so it took a while for this to make its way to the top. I think it took about 5 years. I was reading the reviews on Netflix, and a lot of people were confused, or they hated this movie because they said it wasn't realistic, or it was confusing, or they said it was boring, the first part. Well, yeah, if you want a 5-minute scene to become a 1 hour 55-minute film, that's a little unrealistic, and there has to be a build-up, I guess. And it's quite a build-up, I might add. I enjoyed this movie throughout. I didn't think the first part was boring. I thought the main actress was extremely hot. It's too bad that she didn't get naked in this one, though. She's tall, skinny, flat-chested, kind of the perfect Japanese woman in my mind. And she's 24 in this movie. So the plot goes something like this. There's a movie producer in Japan. Business isn't good. His wife dies, and then 7 years later his son keeps bugging him to get remarried because number one, he's depressed and lonely, drinking all the time without a woman or a wife around, and number two, the homemaker lady who's taking care of the house when he's not there, she's not a very good cook. So he decides to have an audition of 30 young girls, younger than him at least. I'm guessing that he's in his mid-40s. I'm not too sure. But even before, it's like a fake film. It doesn't really exist. It's just they try to push a fraud on these women that they were auditioning for a film, but really they were auditioning to date with this producer dude. And so this producer dude, the middle-aged guy, he's already made up his mind on which one he wants, even before the audition starts. What she doesn't put on her resume is that she was abused as a child, and she likes to get revenge on her male friends, I guess. So this film kind of bounces back and forth between dream sequences and reality. He gets drugged up and tortured at the end. I'm not going to spoil too much of the end for you, but that's the gist of the story. it's weird because there's a dude in a bag, and you don't really figure out who he is until towards the end, when he's having one of those dream sequences. So I guess she mutilates like 3 dudes in this, which is kind of shocking, I guess. The violence is quite graphic. For instance, one dude gets his head chopped off, another dude gets his foot chopped off. There's another dude with his tongue missing, that kind of thing. So yeah, you gotta wait a long time for the end part to realize what her game is. I guess she doesn't like men who fool around, so she likes to get revenge on them. Kind of a feminist notion there that you know, if a guy cheats on you or sees lots of women, then you have every right to go to the extremes, that kind of thing. I don't know if that was the intent of the director, but that's kind of what I got from this movie. Of course, it's just a movie. It's not doesn't have anything to do with a real story, but it's pretty sadistic. I mean, if she's really that gung-ho about going after these guys, then you know, I'd say she's one of the most brutal persons that I've ever seen in a movie. And she's also quite beautiful, which makes it even more intriguing. So, yeah, that's the gist of the movie. She's got lots of moles on her face and her back. She just dropped down gorgeous. I wish they would have shown more nudity in this, but all the nudity is off camera. It's mostly violence and gore in this towards the end. So, another thing I want to mention, the guy who actually conducts the audition, the producer's friend, I'm not sure what his actual title is, but he says Japan is finished, so that pretty much sums up the cynicism in Japan. And there aren't too many guys around in Japan in 1999, so a lot of girls competing for very few guys, and I suppose that's why he's having such a hard time remarrying. So this movie has a rather depressing tone to it, rather cynical, I would say, which is cool. Like I said, I gave this movie 5 stars, and the only part that was confusing to me that I could relate to the Netflix reviews was the part when he's in the hotel and then she gets naked, she gets under the covers, she says, "Come to me," so he gets under the covers. There's like a violent thrashing of the sheets, and then he wakes up and she's gone. I don't know exactly what happened in that scene. I'm guessing that he was drugged, but I don't know. If you know what happened in that scene, put it in the comments section. The movie is available on instant streaming now, so I'm going to take it off since I've already seen it. And I'm confused because there's special features on the first disc, then there's supposed to be a bonus disc. So there must be a lot of special features on this movie. Like I said, it was hyped, and I'm guessing a lot of people saw it, but I didn't see it until 11 years later, so or more than that, 13 years later. So I was a little late bloomer, as the name of my last review was, late bloomer. So yeah, I finally got around to it, and I enjoyed it. I wanted to watch it non-stop, but my wife kept bugging me. You know, she doesn't want to give medicine to my kid, so I'm kind of pissed off. But watching movies is my escape, my precious Japanese movies. Anyways, laters.